Hey there, welcome to the Hot Slice. I'm your host, Jeremy White, editor-in-chief of Pizza Today magazine, joined today by none other than creative director Josh Keown. What's up, Josh?
Hello, Jeremy. How's it going?
Man, it's doing great. We just got through the Kentucky Derby here in Louisville, Kentucky. We just posted the 100th episode of our Hot Slice podcast. So getting to 100 was a big deal, a big occasion, and
fun episode.
It was fun.
Yeah. Long ago, probably when we were in the first 10, we were like, if we get to 100, it's going to be Pete. And I think at one point he was thinking, hey, why am I not on the podcast? So but we could
I think we got about 50 deep. Yeah, we got about 50 deep, and Pete's like, I know in his mind he was thinking, really 50 episodes, and they don't even want to ask me just one question on the podcast. What's up with that? But we were holding him back for 100 to mark the special occasion, and we didn't want to do that with anyone but Pete. So
yeah, and
that's what we did,
and it paid off. So,
but we've got a really good response to that too.
Yeah,
on social media. Pete has a lot of relationships throughout the pizza industry, as we know from virtue of doing this for two plus decades, and we've just gotten an overwhelming response to that episode in particular, as well as a lot of congrats and thank yous for 100 episodes, and that means a lot to me. It really does.
It really does. Yeah, and because that's a tough thing to do, podcasting. Like, people like to give up around 20 episodes, but we've got a wealth of pizzeria owners around the U.S. that are so grateful with their time, and we're so grateful for their time, and their knowledge and their information to share with us. So we'll be here as long as they're here.
We very rarely get told no. Actually, I don't think we've ever been just outright told no, I don't want to be on your podcast. Sometimes it's, I would love to, but I'm way too busy right now. I'm short-staffed, and I've got a huge catering order I have to get out the door on that day. But if you could get me in another day, I'll do it. I'll be happy to do it. So it's cool that we've gotten such a positive response when we reach out to someone, email, text, phone call, whatever, and ask them if they would like to come onto the podcast. 99% of the time, it's a very enthusiastic heck yeah. And that feels good. So thank you, like Josh said, to everyone who is so gracious with their time.
And it's wild to see the evolution of it, because when we first started it, we started it right as the pandemic was hitting, and everything was I felt like that when I got off every podcast, like my heart just hurt. Like, it was just like, just a mini depression after every episode. And it just but it keeps rising, like, throughout the last 2 years of, like, just the stories getting lighter and lighter, and the stories getting better and better. So it's been a pretty cool ride.
It has been. We're not back to normal per se as we knew it pre-pandemic, but we inch closer every day. We've been on airplanes now. We've been inside packed restaurants without a mask on.
We've had a big trade show.
we've produced Pizza Expo, and it was just a very teeny tiny minuscule amount smaller than 2019 pre-pandemic, our largest show ever.
Yeah, and just a couple percentage
knocking
points
on that door by just scores of people. So we're going to be, if all goes well, we will soon surpass 2019. And we talk to pizzeria owners every day. Our business is back. Our dine-in is back. I'm short-staffed. I can't keep up with work now. That's unfortunately what we're hearing right now, is they can't keep up. They're so busy and they're understaffed and they can't keep up. That is a problem, but nonetheless, it's a much better problem than they had 2 years ago, when they were sitting in their living rooms and their restaurant was closed and they were trying to figure out if they would stay in business. So that's, we've come a long way in 24 months, no doubt.
Well, speaking of someone who's having a really, really great year, 2022 has been very, very kind to our next guest, Mr. Lars Smith of State of Mind Public House and Pizzeria. He just recently dominated the competition over in Parma, Italy, and we get to hear all about that.
And what's cool about it is, as our guests, our listeners will hear when we speak to Lars, a lot of times, look, these competitors take these competitions very, very seriously, as you well know, as you photographed so many in Las Vegas. A lot of times, months and months of planning, and I'm talking 8 to 12 months of planning, goes into the competition pizza. Every single ingredient, balance, it's all thought out, experimented, manipulated, thrown away, tried again, tested, retested. And with Lars is like, okay, I'm going to another country to compete. I'm not an expert in their products. I don't fully understand what's in season. I don't really know which meats and cheeses in that locale will excel for me. I really don't know what to do. So I'm just going to get, now he didn't flat out wing it. Okay. Let's not say that, but he's like, I'm just going to get there and kind of go with the flow.
Yeah.
And then he got there and he's like, well, I kind of understand produce. So I'm just going to kind of hit a farmer's market, see what's in season, see what looks really good and fresh and abundant. And then I'll just kind of roll with that. And that's what he did. He found what was in season, what looked good to him from his, chef's point of view. And then they're on the spot. He just picked the produce and was like, okay, all right, now I'm going to figure out what to do with this.
Yeah.
And he pulled it off.
Yeah. Well, big congrats to Lars, and we'll just let him tell the rest of the story right now.
Yeah, let's get him on.
Bacio is celebrating its 10-year anniversary, a decade of exceptional Italian pizza cheese, unmatched consistency, and partners that have become family. If you haven't had the chance to try it, purchase Bacio today and enroll in the Gold Club to receive cash back for every pound you buy. That's right, get rewarded for every single pound of cheese purchased. Schedule a demonstration at baciocheese.com/hotslice to learn more. Pizza is your legacy. Build it with Bacio. Performance Food Service is proud to deliver high-quality products, innovative technology, and custom operational solutions to restaurants of all sizes across the country. The flagship division of Performance Food Group, with deep roots in the restaurant industry, Performance Food Service has been the exclusive distributor of the Roma family of brands for more than 65 years. This signature relationship has allowed Performance Food Service to become a leader in the pizza and Italian segment of food service nationwide.
All right.
Lars, tell us about the trip to Italy.
Oh man, we got to hear all about it.
You cleaned house while you were there.
Oh my God, that was a trip of a lifetime. One, the anticipation. So I had been planning on going to Italy since 2020, right? Like that was Vegas and the World Pizza Championships in Italy were like, they're usually kind of in the same period. So those were like both canceled. Those were like the first events that in my pizza life that I was looking forward to that were canceled. In Italy, I was, I had won a free trip. So that was like an extra bummer. So I had to wait 2 years. So this is like 2 years of anticipation and really hard work getting ready. And I had been sick the whole week before, not COVID, thank God. But it was like rough getting there. Had just got a cold right when I got back from Vegas.
And you're like, of course, so it was like a rough time.
Dude, it was a rough plane flight, getting there, getting acclimated, all of that. And I was kind of off my game all week, but made the best of it and did a lot more exploring and stuff than I had previously done in Parma. And I didn't expect anything. That was pizza alla palla is a new style for me that I literally learned with Massimo and Rob in Long Island, like 4 months ago at this point. It was like 6 or 8 weeks before Italy. I had really just learned how to do it, and to come 5th in the world and the top American score there, like I'm telling to you guys, I'm still wrapping my mind around it, to be honest, 6 weeks later.
Well, that makes it feel better. You didn't expect anything. It was just like, you just went in there.
No.
Thing. Yeah.
No. And I mean, you guys know that the competitive pizza world has been good to me, or I've been good to it. I've had some success, but like this is nuts. This is like, I've done better than 5th in many competitions, but this, like going there and it's a cattle call. There's 700 people there, and to get recognized, the top American score out of like 22 really incredible pizza makers, I think, that were there.
Really?
But
that's the best.
That was killer. Like the American, I don't want to downplay. That's the award that I walked away with, certificate with the best American score. And that's amazing. but to get fifth and like by a couple, like a half point, miss the podium in pizza alla Paula, like it's still mind numbing for me. Like
Yeah.
I worked really, really hard. I knew what I was going to do. I executed it, but like, I'm still like, how the hell did that happen?
Well,
You know?
actually, yeah, let's get into that. Like, first of all, the pizza you had in mind for 2020, I'm sure you already had one in mind.
Right.
Was it the same thing you brought to Parma this year, or is it a little different? Or
No, it was all kind of different because
Yeah.
one of the cool things, I guess you can't really say cool things, something that I worked on during the pandemic was really studying different styles of pizza and really trying to figure out who I am as a chef and a pizza maker, and a lot of reading, a lot of cooking, a lot of, I bought a small spiral mixer for my house early in the pandemic, and kind of doing that stuff. So no, I'm not, none of the stuff that I was planning on doing in 2020, I did this year. I wasn't even signed up for Pizza alla Paula, I don't think, in 2020. And so it's always, it's always evolving. So I didn't really have a plan at all, to be honest with you guys, which is kind of a weird thing to say. I had probably way too many notes of seasonal ingredients that I was interested in using and things that I use here in California, since we get similar produce to they do in Italy. And I had a lot of ideas, and I just went shopping. I just went out and bought meat and cheese and produce and I knew where some of the good spots were from last time I was there, and then kind of just put it all together, which worked really well in a couple, but didn't work that well in some of the other competitions.
so, yeah, go ahead, get into the pie. Explain it. What was the winner?
All right, so the winner was Pizza alla Paula, and I didn't have any kind of fancy name because I had a head cold and couldn't think straight. So it was just the zucchini and burrata pizza, and I love zucchini and summer squash, and they happen to have really good zucchini in Italy. And so it was a pizza that I had seen on some, famous Roman pizzerias websites Instagram pages. And I kind of had a couple ideas of what I wanted to do. And so first of all, it's all about the dough. Roman style pizza, for me at least, is all about the dough. So the US pizza team and I actually purchased a spiral mixer for the hotel that we always stay at. They stored it down in the basement. So I purchased a mixer because I needed a good mixer to make this dough. And so it was an 80% hydration dough that was fermented for 3 days and like a pretty specific time. You bulk it for a certain amount of time, you ball it, then you reball it, then you pull it out. So that was the basis of it. But then I found beautiful green zucchini that I shaved really, really thin and salted to get a bunch of the excess water out and dried them off as much as I could. And so I par-baked the Pizza alla Paula dough and put the salted zucchini on it and finished baking it. And when it came out, I put beautiful Italian burrata, mint leaves, lemon zest, and a bit of sea salt. So it was like
Flavor on flavor,
but it wasn't crazy. There's nothing that I did that anybody couldn't do. And I think that was important for me, is that particularly at this competition, you see insane things. Like, I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen pictures. Like,
I've been there.
Dude, the displays are wild. The things people were putting on the pizzas were wild. And having kind of paid attention the time before and what was going on this time, people that do the crazy stuff sometimes win. But I didn't feel like I had the depth of knowledge about like what specific brand of olive oil there is the best, or where the one prosciutto from the, like I just don't have that depth of knowledge of Italian ingredients. So, I mean, but I understand produce. I'll find the best zucchini or the best squash blossom in a produce stand. Like that's universal. So I just said, let's keep it simple and speak with things that I know. And clearly it paid off. It was definitely one of the simpler pizzas.
But it sounds, I wish I could have had it. It sounds absolutely delicious, as simple as it is.
And since then, I'm sure you've marketed the heck out of it. And I noticed last week you did a one-time day. How did that roll? One time, eating you're gonna make it for one time, one day, and that's it, right?
It seemed like a good idea. It was fun, but it was wild. It was one of those things. It's like Thursday night's farmers market night down here. We had some other stuff going on, and I made 18 60 by 35 centimeter pizza alla Paula. It's a pretty big pizza, and I think we sold like 100. I sold it by the slice because I don't even have plates big enough for pizza alla Paula, so we sold it by the slice, and so like, I don't know what it was, like 120 slices in like an hour and a half in like the normal restaurant where we do 14-inch pizzas. I'm at the restaurant I'm at right now. We did it here, and we probably did like 225 14 inches in the same time in the same 2 decks. It was interesting. It was an interesting idea.
So it worked out.
Yeah.
Right.
People loved it. But I'm like, God, why am I doing this? But it was like me. I think customers and nobody else felt that way. But I'm like, this is a lot. But it was fun to do.
People want to have that moment that hey, this is a world champion pizza or whatever. So people want to have that moment. They want to put it on their Instagram page. They want to do all that stuff.
You're going to be expected to do that all summer long until you can't really get zucchini and squash. And then
there's a lot of asking. Yeah. But that was like 6 weeks ago that I got back from Italy, and everybody's like, when are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? I'm like, okay, I got to do it, which is good and kind of get it out of my system.
Yeah.
But then we're offering the same toppings on the pizza, on a round pizza for this whole week. We have a restaurant week here, so I'm doing that because just the pizza alla palla and the pizza integlia is really my like passion in pizza making is right now. But you can't just I'm going to make a bunch of 14-inch pizzas and then we're also going to do this. Like you have to have different ovens, or not different ovens, but the temperatures and all that. I think it's sometimes hard to explain to the guests that like, I can't exactly just bang out a 60 by 40 centimeter pizza alla palla or pan pizza in the same oven at the same time with the mixer that we have here. So we're working on that too.
Hey, what kind of press have you gotten there in California? Have you received a lot of recognition as a result?
Yes and no. So like our customer base is really engaged, even though we don't have a huge social media following. We have like a pretty engaged customer base. We are like the neighborhood restaurant pizzeria at both of the restaurants we have. But in the Bay Area, I mean, there's a lot of people here. It's hard to get press, So like we got a quick write up in an Eater SF blog, and the local newspaper is working on something, and then a quick shout out in another local newspaper. But it's hard to get press here, and it's also something my team and I are not great at. It's actually kind of a goal of our we've done everything in-house. We have no advertising budget, and we market and do everything ourselves, which is cool because it's super organic the way that we've done everything. But we're working on our 3rd restaurant now, and maybe looking at a 4th and 5th. And I think it particularly in a big market, if you don't have a press, somebody setting up the press release for you, or they know people personally, it's really hard to get press, at least in my experience. I know my friends in Chicago and New York, it's like, there's other things going on. It's tough to get.
Right. You only have so much time in a day, especially as a business owner too. Yeah. So let's talk about the business a little bit. How's, I mean, that's probably been a year since we spoke to you, and we were hip deep in the pandemic. So how are things going right now?
Oh, we're rocking and rolling. I mean, the same struggles, labor and food costs that everybody's going through. But some cool things that we've done since the beginning of opening our restaurant is that we do quarterly menus, and part of that quarterly menu is evaluating what we're doing, the pricing on everything. So we kind of have these things built into our business to evaluate pricing. And then, labor, we're just really creative about hiring people with no experience in training. But those are like, sore subjects, but for everybody, but we're doing all right with them. But I like to talk about the exciting stuff, like, sales, outdoor dining, menu changes, is that we're trying to get back to full force, all the stuff we were doing before the pandemic. And it's rocking. People are really happy to be out. California was the last state to open. So like, there's like the pent up demand thing has like continued. People are just so stoked to be outside. So we've just seen like, growth and growth in both restaurants that we never even thought were possible. So things are really wonderful.
Are you back to inside dining as well, or you're just
Yes.
Okay, got it. So it's full.
We waited a little while. Yeah, the California opened last summer with like pretty strict rules, but I think for maybe 5 months now or 6 months, we've been able to pretty much operate with no restrictions. There's definitely a 2-hour wait for outdoor dining, Thursday through Sunday, and they could sit inside with no wait. So people, I think, are a little reluctant to be inside still, but we've got the bar going. We got everything going.
Good.
What about, you said you're looking at doing a 3rd store and then maybe 4 and 5. So what's your structure as far as getting all this going? Are you hiring a team hiring a new team to do all this, or just on your own, or how's that working?
We have a big team, so we're building. We're about to start building the third restaurant. That's a done deal. Plans are submitted with the city. We're really excited about that. And we have a pretty big ownership group. There's I guess including my wife, there's 5 of us that are on the ownership team. So the goal has always been to grow, but something that I learned from my mentors at Pizza My Heart is that we want to continue growing when we have people that want to grow with us. So we have somebody for that third location who's worked with me for 7 years at my various restaurants, and his dad actually was one who hired me in the pizza industry in 2002. So I've known the kid since he was like 7 years old. He's like, hey, let's open another place. So he's going to go in as a partner there. And I got a couple other people that are interested. So kind of growing, our growth plan is growing where it makes sense, which I know is probably not what you're supposed to say, but like, if I have people that want to open restaurants or want to general manage or want to come on as a partner, that makes sense to me. Yeah. If I'm growing and I'm like, I have no idea who's going to run this thing. I have no idea how we're going to structure it. I have no idea, that doesn't seem like, even if I can afford it, that doesn't seem like a good growth strategy for me. So right. That's, Pizza My Heart was huge, as that was like one of the owners. He'd always ask kind of the operations manager, one of my other really big mentors in my life. Hey, do we have managers that want, or supervisors? Do we have people that want to general manage? That was always his question before looking at new sites. And so that's kind of, I took that to heart.
Yeah, that's a great plan.
It's a great growth strategy.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. I mean, we're not hiring outside necessarily of. We are going to have to hire outside the company, but we're moving up within the company. Is that we don't have people that can general manage that already know the culture. Hiring completely outside of our company seems a little scary right now since we're pretty close to it.
How spread out are these units going to be?
So I'm at our main unit right now in Los Altos, which is the first one we opened in 2018. Our slice house that opened last January, so January 2021. It's about 2.5 miles from here. Maybe a little bit less. Let's call it 2. And it's a slice. It's kind of a takeout joint, and it's in the neighborhood that my brother and I grew up in, and it kind of fulfills a need that this one doesn't. It's just takeout and slices. There's a couple of seats in there, but it's small. And then the next one that we're opening is about 6.5 miles north of here, and it is going to be more like this original one, more sit-down dining, more food options. We'll do takeout there, but not a takeout joint.
Nice. Good things are happening. You're in a positive state of mind right now, right?
That's all I can do. I mean, I love doing this. There's a lot to be stressed out about too, but it's not gonna solve anything. So we're trying to be dynamic and meeting as an ownership team as much as possible. And while we can't foresee what's going to happen, as we've all seen, it's one thing after another. It's being flexible enough to like what might happen, what is food cost doing, what are kind of trying to talk about things proactively instead of reactively has been huge for us.
Right.
So Pizza Expo coming up in March 2023. Will you be competing? And if so, will you go total opposite of what you just did in Italy, or will you try your hand with a very similar, if not identical, pizza at Pizza Expo?
Okay, first part of the question, I don't know if I'm going to be competing. I have a lot of people that work for me that want to compete now. My wife has been competing. Okay. She did really well in Italy, and my general manager, Slice House, has been competing. We'll see. But I would not do, and nobody, my team, nobody will be doing the pizzas in Italy or the other stuff. Is a kind of a goal of ours is to not do the same thing. We don't usually do pizzas that we have on the menu. And besides like in traditional where you can't really avoid it, we've never made the same pizza twice in a competition ever. Mm-hmm. And that's like the Michael Wolff rule, everybody's favorite. Crazy person. Sorry, Michael, I love you. But that was something him and I talked about early on. I mean, probably like 10 years ago competing. It's like, this is fun because we never do the same thing twice. And that's kind of is the joy of competing for me. Like winning's cool, doing well is cool, but really pushing myself and pushing my team to do.
And that keeps you moving forward as an artist, as a craft. So
you said it better than I did. It's like really important to us because I tell the story of, I was pretty much dropped out of team sports by like 14 years old. Like I am not a competitive person, and I am not I like watching sports. I don't like playing sports. I didn't really have the the drive to compete. And then all of a sudden, like in 2013, I found pizza in Expo. It was the first time I ever did a pizza comp or any kind of food competition. I was like, holy crap, this is fun. And like the drive of myself to do better and better. And so I'm cool that I found that in my team, and that for us, like, how do we get better? How do we present a pizza that we're more excited about or more proud of? So kind of like you said, moving it forward.
Nice.
Well, Lars, thanks for stopping by today. And because I've been wanting to hear the story since you've come back, and I've seen it on social media and whatnot. But I just wanted to hear it from you. And man, congratulations again. That's such a huge honor.
It really
Thank
is.
you guys so much. Hopefully I see you before Pizza Expo 2023, but if not, we'll keep in touch on social media.
Sounds good.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Lars.
See you, Lars.
Bye.